Hey guys, Nate with Sauce Ain't the Boss here again, and today is day number 111 of quitting alcohol. Today was a super great day. I finally finished working on that rental I've been working on that I mentioned in some previous videos. It's 100% ready to go. And excited to move my mother-in-law, niece, and nephew actually into the place. People I know and can trust that are going to pay the rent on time, and they're super excited. We got the place just dialed in nice for them, and glad it all just came together. And sometimes you just go with the flow and get through some of the challenges in life, and everything works out in the long run. So definitely excited about that and helping them get moved tomorrow. But today I wanted to talk about cravings and how to get past them and why it's so important to learn to deal with cravings sooner than later. Ultimately, as a drinker trying to get away from alcohol, you're going to have cravings at some point. And especially in the beginning stages, they're probably going to be more frequent and stronger. And so, if you can learn to get past cravings or learn to deal with cravings and can deal with that, you're never going to drink again, because what ultimately happens is you get a craving and then you either deal with it and get past it, or you don't and you pick up the alcohol again. It's really kind of that simple, right? I mean, why else do we now? A craving can be a craving because of stress. It could be because you're at a social event. It could be because other people are drinking in front of you at a get together. It could be due to anxiety, grief. I mean, I've mentioned all the things of why we drink. So all of a sudden the craving hits. Now you have a choice: deal with the craving or pick up the alcohol again, right? So how do you deal with cravings? Because once you master that and can learn to get past the cravings, and you distance yourself long enough from the alcohol, then you can start working on yourself and all the reasons you drank in the beginning in the first place. But in the meantime, you got to deal with these cravings, right? So that's where I talk about a craving is typically, sometimes it can be a feeling and then it becomes a thought, or it's a thought that becomes a feeling, but there's definitely a thought process involved. You're using your mind. Am I going to drink? Am I not going to drink? That turmoil going on. And so the best thing to do, like I said, is to get your mind on your side and learn how to control your mind and learn when those, it is a true thing that works, because I've done it. And I can tell you firsthand, sometimes when I was trying to quit in the past and I get those cravings, I would entertain the idea of drinking and think about it more. Sometimes it was almost because I wanted to think about drinking, because I really wanted to go back to it. Other times it was I didn't know how to turn it off, or that I could turn it off. And so I'm here to tell you guys that you really can turn those thoughts off in your mind. And it's a practicing thing that you have to do, and through repetition, it becomes easier and easier. But the first thing to do when that thought kicks in is immediately switch it off. Think about something else. Get up and do something. Go work out. Go work on a hobby. Go spend some time with your family, your kids, your significant other, whatever. But turn it off and move on with something else. Move on with another thought. That can be done. And it may pop back in there. And then same thing again. Turn it off. Or sometimes it's just sitting there and that thought pops in there, and bringing yourself back to the moment. Just be aware of where you are. Even if you're sitting in a chair, be aware of where you are, feel the moment, and almost like it's like a disconnection between your brain, your mind, and who you are, your spirit. You just kind of sit there and almost turn your mind off and just feel the present moment. And if the thought pops in there again, let it pass. And be aware of yourself and where you are and your surroundings. And it's almost, I did that a few times over the course of this, and it's worked out really well. And other times, if I can't shake it a little bit, then that's when I get up and I do something. But, like I say, if you can master these cravings, you're going to be able to distance yourself away from alcohol long enough to where eventually you're not going to have the cravings. They get weaker and weaker, fewer and fewer, and less severe and less frequent. So, and then it becomes like being 111 days in now, it's a lot easier when I get a craving to just shut it off, move on, not even think about it really. And so, there's some tips on how to kind of deal with those cravings when they happen. And it really is, like I say, if you can learn to start working on that the minute you decide to quit alcohol and kind of slowly start to master that, the better it's going to get. And maybe you master it through a few cravings, and let's say, unfortunately, you go back to the alcohol at some point because you couldn't deal with the craving. At least you started learning how to master that thought process to where next time you give it a go to quit drinking, you've got that much more experience and knowledge at turning those thoughts off. And the next time something like that happens, you'll be stronger, better prepared to maybe turn that one off that made you go back to drinking, you know. So controlling your mind, learning to deal with the cravings, a super important thing in this process. And the sooner you can do that, the easier it's going to be for you. So that's it for today, guys. If you're getting anything out of these videos, give them a like, subscribe to the channel if you can. And most importantly, remember, sauce ain't the boss. You are. You guys have a great night.